Hi there, you. Miss Debbie here to bring you some good sleeping stories tonight and some new books we have here in the library. Just a couple of nice summer stories to send you off to dreamland on this bedtime story platform. So thank you for joining me today. Our first book is called The Yellow Ao Ye. Okay, it's a Vietnam word for this type of garment that is worn by both men and women, but mostly women. So this is written by Han and illustrated by Minnie Phan. The Yellow Ao Die. I'm learning Vietnamese. It's a hard language to learn. I just love this book, and I hope you will too, and you might learn a little bit about a different culture. It was the day before International Day at school, and Nalia couldn't help but be a little nervous. And here she is in the school. She loved to sing and dance. Last year, Nalia had taught her classmates a Vietnamese song. This year, she was performing her favorite traditional Vietnamese dance, and she wanted to do her best. And here she is, greeting her mommy after school. Nalia had learned the Phan dance from her mother, who had learned it from her mother. In Vietnam, Nalia's grandmother had led the Phan dance at the Mid-Autumn Festival, which celebrates the end of the harvest season. And we are getting into our harvest season right now, so this is a very appropriate story for this time. Nalia knew exactly what to wear, her special Ao Dai. Here she is. It's special pants, free kind of flowing, and a special top to wear over it. She had been waiting until now to practice in her fanciest dress, so it wouldn't be wrinkled for her performance. But when she tried it on, Nalia was dismayed to find it was too snug. She must have grown since she last wore it. Isn't that the truth? You have a favorite piece of clothing from last summer, and you tried it on this year and it was too small. Maybe Mom has one that I could use, she thought. Nalia tiptoed into her mom's room, where colorful Ao dyes cascaded from the closet like a hanging garden of flowers. She spotted a yellow one embroidered with swans and water lilies. Yellow, the color of happiness and forsythia blooms. Look at those beautiful garments. Oh boy. Makes you want to go out and get one and wear it. Nalia slipped on the yellow Ao Dai. The dress pooled around her like water. She rolled up the sleeves, tugged it up around her waist, and cinched it with a belt. Then she unfolded Mom's wooden fans and began to practice. Nalia reached up on her tippy toes. She twirled and swayed like petals blowing in the breeze. She imagined herself as a graceful lotus blossom gliding across a stage. And here's a beautiful lotus blossom. Yeah, you might call them lily pads if you see ponds with these plants just floating on top and these beautiful lotus flowers or lily pads floating up there. As she twirled, the long dress tangled around her feet. Oops. she tripped on it. And rip. Oh boy. It ripped. Wow. And it was her mom's dress. Oh no, Nalia squeaked. Will Mom be mad? She heard her mother's footsteps coming down the hall. Nalia hid the dye in the back of the closet, burying it as deep as she could behind the other gowns. Nalia, Mom asked, what are you doing, little one? Nalia glanced away, her heart racing. I'm looking for an dye to wear for International Day tomorrow. Mine is too small. Mom smiled and said, I thought you might need a new one. She handed Nalia a present. Tucked between layers of lavender tissue paper was a beautiful oud dye, the color of happiness and forsythia blossoms. Butterflies covered the front of the dress in all the shades of the rainbow. How beautiful. Thank you, Mom. I love it, Nalia cried. It's the perfect dye for the fan dance. Makes me want to get one of these. I'm so glad you like it, Mom said. I have a special yellow dye too. Nalia's stomach churned. But blue is your favorite color. Yes, but yellow was your grandmother's favorite color. She brought the dye with her when she left Vietnam. Sadness rose in Nalia's chest. Then Mom took a photo out of her keepsake box. Nalia peered closer. Are those water lilies and swans? Oh no. Here's a picture of her grandmother. Your grandmother wore it when she performed the fan dance in her village, Mom explained. She was chosen to be the Mid-Autumn Festival princess because she was the most graceful dancer of all. Mom looked around the closet. I wonder where I put it. Tears welled in Nalia's eyes. She took a breath and slowly dug out the yellow dye. Is this it? She sniffled. Yes, that's the one. But Mom's smile faded when she saw the hole in the fabric right down there. Nalia looked down at her feet. I'm so sorry, she whispered. I tried on your dye to practice the fan dance, but I fell and it ripped. I ruined grandmother's special dress. Mom was silent. Nalia held her breath. Mom knelt and gathered Nalia in her arms. I know you didn't mean to rip it. When I was a little girl, I also loved trying on my mother's dyes. I tore the very same dress. You did? Nalia gasped. Do you see this lily pad? Mom asked. Your grandmother embroidered it over the hole that I made. We can sew another one over the new hole. Hope bloomed in Nalia's heart. Can you sew a frog instead? You always say frogs are lucky. Mom opened her sewing box. Nalia threaded the needle with a shade of green that reminded her of moss-covered rocks. When Mom finished, a cute little frog sat on top of a lovely lily blossom. How sweet is that? Nalia hugged and sniff-kissed her mom. You fixed it. Your grandmother's dye is even more special now that it has your lucky frog on it, Mom said, planting sweet sniff kisses on Nalia's head. And when you grow up, this dye will be yours. The next morning, before the International Day celebration, Nalia slipped on her new dye. It fit just right. Mom wore her yellow owl dye too. Mom, you look like a mid autumn princess, just like grandmother in the photo, Nalia said. Mom beamed. Thank you, sweetheart. You are a mid autumn princess too. Even though Nalia had practiced, she felt like the butterflies on her dress were fluttering in her stomach. All her classmates and teachers would be watching her. Will I be as graceful as grandmother? Nalia asked quietly. As graceful as a lotus in full bloom, Mom whispered in her ear. Your grandmother would be so proud of you. And here are the other students practicing for their International Day. Nalia's fans whirled as she floated across the stage. The butterflies no longer fluttered in her stomach. Instead, they flitted and flapped where they belonged on her yellow owl dye. And just for a moment, Nalia imagined herself dancing the fan dance with her mother and grandmother in the meadows of Vietnam. She could almost smell the scent of jasmine blossoms. She truly felt like a mid-autumn princess. I hope you get to dress up in your favorite clothing and become a mid-autumn prince or princess. I think I'd like to do that as well. So that is story number 1. And since it's bedtime, let's look up to the sky. And what do you see up there? The beautiful yellow, almost harvest moon. Jupiter is still up there. Jupiter is even brighter than Twinkle at this point. Starlight, star bright, first star I see tonight. I wish I may, I wish I might have the wish I wish tonight. Do you have a wish that your heart would like to make? Wish it. And wishes usually come true. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Twinkle, thank you for looking over us tonight and every night. All right, let's see if I have another bedtime song. Let's do If You're Sleepy and You Know It, Blink Your Eyes. 2 blinks. If you're sleepy and you know it, blink your eyes. If you're sleepy and you know it, you will always show it. If you're sleepy and you know it, blink your eyes. If you're sleepy and you know it, wink your eye, one eye. If you're sleepy and you know it, wink one eye. That happens when you're falling asleep. If you're sleepy and you know it, you will always show it. If you're sleepy and you know it, wink one eye, wink, wink. If you're sleepy and you know it, nod your head, nod. Well, when you start to fall asleep and you're trying to stay awake, your head just falls down. When you're sleepy and you know it, nod your head, nod, nod. If you're sleepy and you know it, your body will always show it. If you're sleepy and you know it, nod your head, nod, nod. Here's something else that happens when you're sleepy. If you're sleepy and you know it, give a big yawn. Oh boy. It's polite to cover your mouth when you yawn. If you're sleepy and you know it, give a big yawn. If you're sleepy and you know it, you will always show it. If you're sleepy and you know it, give a big yawn. Now, I'm going to ask you to take deep breaths. This will calm you down and make you sleep so well. So we're going to breathe in through our nose and sigh it out through your mouth, okay? If you're sleepy and you know it, take a deep breath. If you're sleepy and you know it, take a deep breath. If you're sleepy and you know it, you will always show it. If you're sleepy and you know it, take a deep breath. Oh, that felt good. Get that oxygen in and blow it out. Oh, making me sleepy. All right. Another book I chose for tonight is called The Mermaid Moon by Briony May Smith. Do you believe in mermaids? I do. That's the little mermaid sitting on the rock. Maybe you know the story of the Little Mermaid or the Littlest Mermaid. Once upon a time, there were two best friends. One was from the sea, a mermaid named Marin, and one was from the land, a human named Molly. And Molly's sitting in her rowboat, putting her head underwater to see her friend Marin. Molly lived in Merporth, a little fishing village, where the houses were stacked around the harbor and the boats went up and down with the tide. She could see the sea from her bedroom window. How nice is that? Do you see the sea out the window? The blue ocean. Marin lived in the harbor with her mom, Nerissa, who protected the cove from the wind and rain. She taught Marin whale songs and storm charming to keep her safe. When the sun set, they fell asleep inside their mermaid cave carved into the harbor wall. So the mermaids in this story protect the harbor, the place where the boats dock, from the storms. And there's her mother. Looks like she's repairing a fishing net and Marin is asleep. Every day after school, the girls would play together, Molly above the water and Marin below. They'd search for treasure in sea caves and ancient shipwrecks. They'd surf the waves with the dolphins and follow pods of whales as they glided through the gloomy depths. See, Molly can hold her breath when she goes underwater. And then she'll come up for air, just like you do when you swim. One afternoon, the girls watched excitedly as Merporth bustled with preparations. That night was the Mermaid Moon Festival, and Marin was finally old enough to join in. All the sea creatures would be able to swim through the air to explore the human world. Best of all, Marin would see Molly's house for the first time. Molly skipped home for dinner. "Keep it real, baby seal," she called. "See you tonight." "Farewell, seashell," Marin replied, diving below the water. So one day a year, the mermaids could come up and breathe the air like humans. How magical is that? After eating their seaweed supper, Marin's mom told her more about the mermaid moon. "Make sure to be home before the moon's reflection disappears from the sea, my little minnow, she warned. Otherwise, your scale will dry out and the magic will vanish from the cove forever. And here's her mother telling her. Marin gulped and nodded. Then Nerissa wrapped her fin around her daughter, saying, "But don't forget to have fun." There's a seal floating up above. As the moon started to rise, Marin watched the first creatures lift out of the waves. Seals twisted and turned in the night sky. Dolphins leapt and stayed airborne, flicking their tails to propel them to town. And here goes the parade of fishes to the harbor town. Marin closed her eyes and concentrated on the mermaid moon magic as she pushed up to the surface. I think I can. And kept on going, up, up, and up. She swished her glittering fin and followed the flurry of fish swimming through the air with a bright laugh. How magical is that? What if we went to a harbor and we saw all the fish and the dolphins and the seals and the mermaids swimming through the air? At the water's edge, Marin spotted Molly waiting for her. "You're flying," Molly giggled. "Come on, there's so much to see, and Mom and Dad said you could sleep over." Marin floated to a stop. "I wish I could, but..." And she explained what her mother had told her about the mermaid moon magic vanishing. Molly's face fell, but then she smiled. "Oh, well," she declared, "we'd better get going then." So the mermaid and the fishes don't have to walk, they are swimming through the air. The streets of Merporth were strung with seashell bunting, coral wreaths hung on doors, and sea glass mobiles sparkled in windows. Fish scales shimmered and twinkled in the moonlight. There were market stalls and even a band, and Marin swam among it all, enchanted. Of course, she had never seen the human life before. Look at the moon in the sky. At one stall, Molly bought them matching bracelets with her allowance. At another, Marin tried her first hot chocolate. There they are buying the bracelets, and here that she's drinking hot chocolate. Do you like hot chocolate? I do. As the moon began to sink and the market closed, the girls wandered up the hill to Molly's house. They went silently upstairs, careful not to wake her mom and dad. So the moon is going down because as the night wears on, the moon goes down as the sun would make its way up. And here's the reflection of the moon in the water. So remember, Marin has to be home before that reflection disappears. But here they are at Molly's house. To Marin, Molly's room seemed full of strange things. Marin stared at the coral-less walls and frowned in confusion at the lamp until Molly flicked the light switch. "Wow," whispered Marin. Instead of a sandy seabed, there was a fluffy carpet, and instead of sea kelp, blankets. There were books, toys, paper, and pens, along with things they had collected together, jars of sea glass and shells on every shelf. And that's what Molly's room looks like. So awesome to a little mermaid. When she saw the moon glint through the bedroom curtains, Marin said, "Uh-oh, I'd better head home." Down the stairs and out of the door the girls hurried, but in Molly's backyard something caught Marin's eye. So here she see, when the moon was moving along, she could see the last glimpse of the moon. But as she was going through the yard, something caught her eye. What was it? "What's that?" Marin asked. "My swing," Molly replied. "Want to try?" "Yes, please," cried Marin, climbing on. Molly pushed. "It's like swimming and flying all at once," Marin exclaimed. Whoa, don't you love it when you're on the swing? You just feel so free. When the swing slowed to a stop, she looked up at the moon with a sigh. She really didn't want to leave yet. An owl swooped overhead, and Marin floated up to a tree branch to watch it fly beyond the hills. Molly clambered up after her and noticed the moon was starting to dip into the sea. "Quick," she reminded Marin, "you need to get home." "Oh, sea urchins," Marin said. "I wish I could stay forever." And she drifted sadly down. They're looking up at the moon. She sees the owl. And there's the moon getting lower in the sky. Oh, isn't it lovely to be outside at night under a moon with your best friend? But as Molly followed, shimmying down the tree, the branch beneath her foot snapped. She clung to the branch above, stuck. Marin rushed over to help. She clasped Molly's hand and pulled, but she could feel the magic wearing off. There was no way she could carry Molly down. "Go, Marin, or you'll be stuck too," urged Molly. "I won't leave without you," said Marin, as her scales started to tingle. But if she stayed, she'd ruin the magic of the mermaid moon. Oh, what should she do? Oops. What should she do? And here she is, trying to help Molly, who's clinging to a branch. And then she remembered there was a song her mom had taught her long ago, a whale song to sing in times of trouble. Closing her eyes, she began. "Whale, whale, great or small, deep below the white sea foam. Listen, listen, hear my call. Mighty whale, please help me home." And here she is, closing her eyes and singing it. And there's the moon closer to the horizon. The lilting melody pulsed through the air and sea. And suddenly, from the depths beyond the harbor, leapt a huge whale, pushing out of the waves into the sky. Water poured off its back onto the rooftops as it swooped toward them. Whoa, I think whales are the biggest animals in the world. The whale hovered over the tree, holding its fins steady for the girls to climb on. Molly gasped. "Don't be afraid," said Marin, helping her friend mount the whale's back. Wow. Once astride, the girls clung to its barnacles. With a swoosh of its tail, the whale set off again. Molly and Marin cheered the great creature on as it hurtled through the sky to the sea. With the mermaid moon magic wearing off, the whale skirted over chimneys and brushed past treetops. Look at that. Nobody else is awake to see them. Girls holding on to those barnacles. Barnacles are like little shell creatures that cling to things. And look, there's the whale's eye. Fascinating creatures. The whale sank lower, narrowly missing the harbor wall. Molly slid off just before Merrin and the whale splashed into the sea. Merrin burst out of the water and flipped into the air. "We did it," she cried. In the distance, the whale's tail saluted them before sinking below. "Goodbye," called Molly. "Thank you." The moon's reflection twinkled on the waves for one last moment, and then it was gone. Molly hugged her friend goodbye. "I can't wait for next year when we can do it all again," she said. Merrin laughed and hugged Molly back, and then she dipped below the waves to her mermaid cave, and Molly skipped up the hill to her cottage to sleep. The end. Isn't that the sweetest story? I love these two stories, and I hope you enjoyed them too. So let's see, one last song before we say goodnight. Let's do Skidamarink. Skidamarink-a-dinky-dink, skidamarinky-doo. I love you. Skidamarink-a-dinky-dink, skidamarinky-doo. I love you. I love you in the morning and in the afternoon. I love you in the evening and underneath the moon. Oh, skidamarink-a-dinky-dink, skidamarinky-doo. I love you. Cha-cha-cha. I hope you enjoyed this story time, and come and visit me in the library or watch my other story times. There's quite a number online. And I look forward to seeing you. If you come in, please find me and say hello, because I'd love that. Because you are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away.